Any more questions before we start?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Oh, I do. I
Yeah.
forgot to do the insurance.
Oh, that's okay.
I just need to have the name of that in company again, and I'll do it tomorrow.
It's very hard. They're backlogged. I've been
Yeah.
waiting. It's weeks now before you'll get it. They have 5 days before they'll answer your phone and 7 days before they'll answer an email. They're completely backlogged. So I use Balance, which you had recommended, and they're just saying because of COVID, I don't quite understand why, they're very backlogged. So I'm just in a waiting line.
There is a list of other ones if you go back through the notes.
But you said that Balance was quite good.
Well, I'm with Balance.
Yeah, so you recommend that one. So I'll just wait. It's 5 or 7 days. Hopefully they'll get back to us. But yeah.
It's okay. It's best to do it now because we're not actually working on the public yet.
Yeah.
Have you put your hand up, Eve, or is that?
Oh, I didn't mean to. Gosh, lower it. I'm a nightmare.
Fiona, sorry. So
it's okay, Kathy.
So I've done the Balance one, and I think it's £17 just while you're a student. And I think then they do a pro rata, goes to £65 when you're qualified. And I did the other ones, that holistic something, they were quite a bit more expensive. One of them, I think there were 5 altogether. As Michelle just said, they're just so busy. Balance are only there 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And but I've sent mine off.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Eve, do you want the number for Balance? I've got it right here.
Okay.
So it's 01684.
Yeah.
580771.
Thank you.
You might be best emailing them rather than just calling if they're only there 3 days a week. That's what I'm thinking. And then they've got your information. I think it's a form you fill out or something.
Yeah.
You don't even get that far. You just send, and then you have to wait. And I've been waiting now 3 or 4 days just to get a response. They just respond saying, "We will get back to you."
I've got all mine.
No, they didn't like me.
Oh, that can't be true.
I was unloved at that point. They must be very busy. Very busy.
They must have been having a bad hair day.
Yes.
Right, we can go over that more if you need, but they are in the slides, the other companies. But try Balance, especially if they're the cheapest. And I use them and they are good. So okay, so let me find the slides for today. Okay, everyone. So we are doing module 3 again, part 2. So we're going to do a recap of not last week, the week before, but week 6. Go over what you remember. We're going to work on Mind the Gap, which is if you remember, we did our do wants and don't wants. So we're going to look at the gap that's in between that can link those two things together. And then we're going to look more at what our core beliefs are and something called the escape method that Andrew uses, just to identify and highlight where somebody is having a gap in their belief system. So escape method. The do wants and don't wants, we're going to do another exercise today of filling in that gap, of looking for people's core beliefs. And then in the practice session on Thursday, we're going to be handcrafting some affirmations, suggestions and mantras. We started doing this last time, but using compounding suggestions and loops in the practice from what we do, the work we do today. Does that make sense? That's this little review of today and Thursday. So what does everyone remember about the TFB loops?
Thought, feelings, behavior loops. So your beliefs will influence your thoughts in a particular situation, which in turn influence your feelings in that particular situation, which will influence your behavior in that particular situation, but one can influence the other. So if you can change any of them, TFB or the underlying belief system, then you will be changing the final behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the behavior is influenced by the thoughts and the feelings. Yeah, and then with the behavior can just compound the thoughts and feelings even more, and someone can get caught in that cycle. Yeah, good explanation. Okay, the identifying triggers, stimulus, and symptoms and responses. So, can anyone think of some triggers and some symptoms?
So a trigger, is that when it's the fear of the fear? So a trigger might be feeling nervous, and then the symptom would be stammering or going red or forgetting what you were going to say. You're
one step ahead. So this is a bit more simple than that. This is just the trigger and what the response is to that trigger. So it's a little bit more simple. So can you think of one for going red?
Being embarrassed.
Yeah, so what might the trigger be? Someone...
Oh, sorry, the one before. So maybe someone laughs at you and then you go red and you're embarrassed.
Yeah, okay, so we've got the trigger, stimulus, someone laughing. The response is the blushing, getting embarrassed, going red. The feeling is embarrassed, going red, and the symptom is the blushing, which is involuntary. Okay, any others?
Well, would it be, if you had to speak in front of an audience, would that be a trigger, and possibly the response would be the stuttering? If you're a very nervous person, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Any others? Something that someone would get triggered?
Like a student going into an exam?
Yeah, going into an
having
exam.
a panic attack, just freezing?
There'd always be a trigger though. I like the word trigger rather than stimulus because it really highlights the fact that we have an urgent and quick response to something. So I do like the word trigger.
Be just a word, like an emotional trigger.
Yeah, so there can be emotional triggers, so they're not always physical. The emotional trigger, so we get our emotions triggered by, what would they be triggered by?
A thought.
Yeah.
Another person.
Yeah.
Are things like when you're like feel like jealousy or envy or something, and then you would this, and then like could the symptom then be that you like negative self-talk?
Yeah, but you have to think about what would the trigger be for that feeling of envy.
Oh, so like someone has a bag that you want.
Yeah. So that's the stimulus. Someone has a bag, and the response is you feel
shit, like rubbish about yourself.
Yeah.
Or you
envy.
like,
Can musical songs be a trigger?
Yeah.
The reason I say that is that I was walking up Kensington High Street earlier, and there was one shop playing Christmas carols, and it kind of triggered me back to like about 20 years ago, and I used to work in a Christmas kind of grotto Santa's.
Yeah, so anything that happens in the outside world, a trigger which creates a response in us, and symptoms. So the symptoms can also be anxiety, where we, the heart rate, the fear response that we talked about, adrenaline, cortisol. And lots of people will come to you with something that triggers that kind of response in them. Okay, so Hattie was one step ahead. The different layers of the initial surface level symptoms and the secondary symptoms. So do you want to tell us what that is, Hattie?
So the secondary symptom would be, the initial would be the fear of that thing happening. And then it happens. And then as a result of it happening, that triggers something else like a stutter.
So we have no, that's okay. So we have the initial surface level symptoms. So it would be the stutter if we're going to use the stutter. And the secondary symptom would then be the fear of the stutter happening.
Oh, that's it.
So we have the initial surface level. So what's the initial symptom? So the initial response. So say there's a trigger of, being put on the spot, unprepared. That's the trigger. The surface level symptom is the stutter. The secondary symptom is that then you're talking, and I'm stuttering even thinking about it, it's the fear of then stuttering.
Is the secondary symptom always the fear of the God, I'm stuttering as well. Is the
It's like you
secondary
say to others,
symptom,
don't stutter. You want to stutter.
is that a fear of whatever the thing is? So if it's like stuttering or going red, or is it always a fear of that thing happening?
It can be. It depends. It's just this something happens and something else happens because of that. And
Okay.
everyone's different, so it's hard to tell. But say you are, it could even be an avoidance tactic. It could, like, fear of flying, you avoid flying. The symptom is you're avoiding the flying. It's just something that happens because of that fear. So say, for example, today I had a client, and when we peeled away, she was actually a TV presenter for, I can't tell you what, but it was live TV that she didn't like. And she came with the initial, what she thought was a fear of live TV, and the secondary symptom was her avoiding, all those things. And well, I'm not explaining this very well. So she thought it was an initial surface level symptom, but actually there was loads of other things that it was showing. I'm not explaining this very well at all. What she thought, we thought it was, and then it was causing her to avoid. There was avoidance tactics there, if that makes sense. What I want to say is actually underneath it, it was actually her fear of not being able to rehearse and prepare enough. But that she actually wasn't aware of that. So it's not actually the surface level symptom that she came with. It was when we uncovered it, that's actually what it was. And she just pinned the two together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So she came with an initial level symptom of wanting to. She said, I can't do live TV. And what happened when the first time, or one of the first times she did live TV, was it triggered her panicking that she's not prepared enough of another live event that happened when she was a bit younger, a first public speaking event. So what we think the problem is never actually is the problem, but hers was live TV. The secondary symptom of that would be her avoiding it, not going for jobs, not pushing herself and promoting herself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's a consequence of the initial surface level. But I just wanted to give you an example that what someone comes to you with is not actually usually the problem. That's why it was hard for me to explain that. It does get a little bit complicated when you start peeling away the layers. Okay, so starting, stopping, and reducing, and there should be and reducing. So can you remember what that was?
Is that if you're talking to your client and you're asking them a question, is the starting and stopping trying to sort of keep on track, and then reducing is like repeating it back to them succinctly to keep you kind of on the right direction?
Yes, it is. This is just finding a little bit, like they'll come to you because they want to stop or reduce something usually.
Oh, sorry, I was completely...
No, it's okay. It's good that you tried. You were nearly there. And they will want to start something. So I want to start being more motivated. It's highly unlikely because people normally come to you with what they don't want. I don't want to have this fear, or I don't want to feel this way, or I want to stop blushing, or I want to stop stuttering, or I want to stop avoiding certain situations. But some people will come and say, I want to start doing something. I want to, it's a bit more unlikely. Or people will want to reduce a behaviour that they have. And
so this is always going from one belief system to another, regardless of which way you're going. Because either you want to stop something and you're going to start something, so you're going from some limiting behaviour or belief system and you want to open that up, or you're going in the opposite direction, but it's always changing your belief system.
Yeah, and there'll always be the opposite.
Yeah.
And the do wants, don't wants, remember those?
Is that similar to
the same thing, isn't it?
stopping?
Yeah. It is similar, yeah.
So I want to feel confident if
Yeah.
I'm public speaking. I don't want to feel nervous and shy.
Perfect. Yeah.
And isn't that where you have mind the gap? Sort of look. Didn't you mention that you have to look at?
We'll look at that now. We'll look at the middle.
Okay.
The middle. We'll go on to that.
Mhm.
So let's. You're one slide ahead. I love you guys. They're quicker than me. So here we are. Mind the gap. So when people say what they don't want and what they do want, there's a gap in the middle. So sometimes they aren't opposites, and sometimes people won't know what they don't want, or they'll know more what they do want, or, you know, every client's different, so there's no one set way of knowing this. But what we want to do is we want to identify what's going on in the middle. And some people will tell you, oh, I just don't want to feel rejected anymore. I don't want to feel rejected. And you say to them, what do you want? And, you know, it'd be really hard for some people to say this, especially I want to feel loved, you know, especially if there's resistance there. So it can be quite hard to identify. And a lot of the times people won't know what they actually want to feel. So just by simply questioning them, you just help them think about what the problem in a different way. You know, people listen to our problems a lot and nobody ever really says to us, so is it, what do you want? But what they need, so what we want and what we need are usually very different things. So what we need here, so in this case, it would be to feel accepted. So I don't want to feel rejected. I need to feel accepted in order to feel loved. And everyone will be different. Every case will be different. But in the middle here is our core belief system. So to get from here to here, there's a belief. A belief that needs to be shifted. And we're going to go on to look at core beliefs. So if you just tell somebody who's feeling rejected, you are now loved, they're not going to believe that on a deep level unless you change their belief system, because those thoughts and behaviors and all the information they've collected throughout the years have confirmed their belief that they are rejected. So we need to look at things on a deeper level. So this is why their mind would reject the idea of feeling rejected, is that, remember, the security guard would not allow it in because it doesn't align with their core beliefs. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so an example, and there's a webinar, Andrew has one on weight. And the issue is somebody doesn't want to not be overweight. So I don't want to be overweight. So, you know, we can ask these questions. What's that like? In what way? So we've talked about clean questioning before. That's not projecting anything onto the client when you're asking them questions. So 2 really good clean questions. What's that like? In what way? So you've probably developed your own ways of questioning people now. But it's just good to keep those questions clean, so you're not projecting your ideas of what you think they think onto them. What's that like? In what way? And just keep asking them. Have low self-esteem. I feel unattractive. In what way unattractive? And so what's the real want? We look for conflict and resistance to try and find the core belief. So we could say, what do you want? Well, I want to be slim. In the example here, well, what would that be like? In what way? Well, it would feel good and I'd feel more attractive. Well, what would that be like to feel more attractive? Well, that would be scary. So this highlights a conflict here, because that person wants to feel, they want to feel good and attractive, but that feels scary for them, so they can't quite get from here to here. There's fear in between. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
No, sorry, I don't understand. Why I don't understand why it would be scary.
So somebody would feel good and be attractive. It would be scary for them to feel attractive, something that's happened to them in the past that they've felt attractive and maybe something bad has happened.
Or sometimes like people get afraid of like being seen, maybe.
Yeah. So they think if I do too well, or if I'm too much for people, I'll get rejected or something like that.
But then would you, oh, so sorry, so that's not So it's not actually linked to the original, that it's not linked to the weight thing, it's the
it's a core
impact of
belief.
that, which is then being attractive, and that's what they'd be scared of, not the weight.
Yeah. So there's almost like it's a self-sabotage going on there. But yeah, it can be different. What would it feel like? Well, it would be scary to feel good, more attractive. Maybe they've been attacked if they were out, or they don't want to be seen, they don't want to be heard. There's just, every case is different, so you don't know what's happened or why, but there's a fear there, and the belief is that it's scary to feel good and more attractive. So there's almost a self-sabotage when they get to a certain place, they self-sabotage.
Would it, with an example like this, would it not be more likely that if you said, what would it feel like to be good and attractive for someone who's come for weight loss, for them to be like, it'll be amazing?
It depends. And you'd be surprised actually at how many people said, if you actually think, or if they're under hypnosis, when they're actually focusing on it, what would it be like to feel good and more attractive?
Because isn't this the, like, so this person, that would be their limiting belief, which is holding them back from losing weight. So it's like finding sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you go. That's funny.
It's not going on to the speaker for some reason. It's not showing me who's speaking.
Oh, so if they said scary, you'd need to find out why.
You would, you'd just be like, well, in what way scary? But the fear of, you would just dig deeper and know why. Remember, we're like little detectives who want to know why. And on a conscious level, when you're just talking, they might only know to a certain degree, but it's good to get a good level of information. And we'll go through the core beliefs in a moment, but you're just looking at what's being triggered, which core beliefs are being triggered. Weight loss is quite multi-dimensional, quite multifaceted. So, this is just an example of conflict of interest here, that someone wants something, and what they actually want, there's resistance to that. But you will be surprised at how many people don't want to be seen and don't want to feel attractive. Okay. So the issue, what we don't want to be overweight. What's that like? Unattractive. It's unattractive is safe. Resistance to the want, fear of not being safe. So the outcome is I do want to be slim. What would that like? Feel attractive? Well, that would be scary. So can you just see the disalignment here?
I'm really sorry, I am not getting this. I can't understand. So if you came with an issue, so you don't want to be overweight because it's unattractive, so you don't want to be unattractive and overweight, but it feels safe.
So the issue is, I don't want to be overweight. So somebody's coming, they want to lose weight. I don't want to feel overweight anymore. I don't want to feel like I'm self-sabotaging. And remember, people will come to you to lose weight when they've tried everything else. So you're not their first port of call. They will have tried everything else. So for your clean questioning, what's it like to feel overweight? And you will get some people that have been trying to lose weight for years and years, and it just feels unattractive, and or whatever it might be. And what's that like? This might not come up. This is a very black and white idea, but it's the idea that it's safe to be unattractive. It's safe if you say it's safe to be not seen. Let's change it to be unseen.
Okay.
Would that help?
Yeah.
What's that like? Well, I feel unseen. What's that like? Well, I actually feel safe if I'm unseen. What would it be like if you were slim? Well, I'd be seen. And what's that like? Well, that would be really scary. So can you see why somebody wouldn't be losing weight then if we were to change unattractive just to seen?
Yeah. Okay. So it's their subconscious fear that stops them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
But they
almost,
wouldn't.
it's resistance. Sorry, Kathy.
So, I think I sort of understand it. But if they first came to you and they were just chatting, and you said to them before they were hypnotized, if you said to them, you know, how would you feel when you're slim? They're not going to say to you then scared. It's
Probably
only-
not. Hattie's right. Probably not. No, and it might come out later on. It depends. It depends how close it is to the surface, really, for that person.
Because otherwise they wouldn't want to be slim, would they? If they were.
Well, it might take a lot of. We say, what's it like to be unattractive? Well, I just feel not seen by anyone, and I just feel. Yeah, to be honest, it's more likely to come out in hypnosis. It was Andrew's example that he uses in one of the things, but it has happened to me. It has happened. This has come up. So that's why we're using it, because it does come up with weight loss. People don't want to be attractive or want to be seen.
So when they'd been to lots of other people before and it hadn't worked, it was because actually the underlying issue was that, like you said, it was self-sabotage.
Yeah, it's not usually about the food at all. Well, never really is.
Yeah,
it's an idea that I want to feel safe.
But it's why they haven't lost weight by trying diets and all the other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just being aware that they come to you our last port call. But yes, normal questioning. They're not going to say, well, I really fear being seen because of what happened when blah, blah, blah. It probably won't happen. It won't be given to you on a plate like this. Probably. But it's worth knowing that it's probably underneath it, underneath it all.
Okay.
So, well, I might not go over this if you're all finding it a bit complicated, but the real want is to be safe, to be slim and attractive.
Slim and attractive, yeah.
Which means that if I can feel both slim and attractive, that it's safe to lose weight. But what we don't want is to feel overweight. But our real want is the conditions to feel safe. That's what we want. We want the conditions to feel safe in order to lose weight, which is the original want.
But so
I wouldn't worry about this.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm probably going to get too into it. Okay.
I wouldn't worry about this now, especially if. So we're just looking at that gap. So we're looking at that gap between, and it can challenge conventional therapy and ways of thinking, but we look at these core beliefs that underpin everything that we do, because they form the basis of, like we've said before, of everything that our thoughts and feelings are based on, and our behavior is based on our thoughts and feelings. So we really need to unlock someone's fears and limitations, because when someone comes to you and they're blocked in any area of their life, it's because they have a fear or anxiety. And if we're not making changes, if our conscious mind isn't aligning with our unconscious mind, there's usually their element of fear and limitation. So what we're looking for when someone's talking is when they're alluding to the fact that they're more having a block in those certain areas, and we'll go over the core beliefs in a moment, but it's just listening out for which beliefs may be being triggered.
Just digging, sort of.
Yeah, digging.
So that last step is just like digging to work out what's actually going on.
Yeah, in what way? What's that like? In what way?
Okay.
And you can just keep asking this, and don't be scared to just keep asking this. You'll feel a bit repetitive and like you're not giving much. Remember, it's not a conversation. Okay, so we need to pay close attention to anything that correlates to the core belief. So does anyone know anything about core beliefs?
It's the root of the belief, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our core beliefs. So we all have
Our map of the world.
Yeah.
Like literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Our interpretation.
So let's look at the most common limiting belief is the fact that I'm not enough. And lots of people will come, say someone is coming with a weight loss issue, you know, their belief could be, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be seen. I'm not good enough to be what I want to be or achieve my goals. It could be anything. But enoughness. So negative, I'm not enough, good enough, worthy enough. The positive, I am enough. I am good enough. I am worthy enough. Can anyone think of any examples of that where someone wouldn't feel good enough?
They thought they weren't very good at their job.
Yeah. I'm not good enough.
Overachievers.
The what, sorry?
Overachievers. People who just achieve very highly often are fighting that feeling of I'm just actually not good enough. Imposter syndrome sort of thing.
Yeah. Imposter syndrome's a big one. I'm not good enough. Yeah, that's actually the most, if anyone's read Louise Hay, she has a good book, You Can Heal Your Life. The core belief is I am enough. I know Marissa Peer goes on about it, but actually the first person that started with this I am enough was Louise Hay. Very good book. And then Hay House was formed on her, that book. Okay, so I am enough, and core of a lot of things, people just feeling enough in who they are. Safety. Negative. I'm not safe in the world. So this is the first one was about themselves. I'm not enough. The second one is about their safety, their place, the world. I am not safe. I cannot relax. I must be on guard. I must protect myself. The positive would be the world is a safe place for me. I can relax. I can let go. I can be myself. So can anyone think of anything where there are symptoms or triggers where somebody would feel not safe or their safety?
Abuse.
Yeah. They've been abused. The world's not safe for me.
Or maybe if someone's thinking about like moving abroad or doing something scary, you might feel like it's not, it's not safe enough to do something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of students going into school don't feel that they're safe.
Okay.
And I think it's with the teachers, not with their peers. With the teachers, they are not safe.
Yeah.
Because of being put down, but that would also could be linked with not feeling good enough, couldn't it?
These are can be interlinked.
There's a link together, isn't there?
Because if you like, can it be like I'm not safe, like to be seen, or I'm not safe to be seen. I don't want to be judged.
And then we'd always look for why. So if somebody's saying it's why because I don't want to be judged, it would always kind of looking why. So you know, it obviously maybe not at this level yet, but we, you know, if somebody's saying it's not safe to be me or it's not safe to be seen, it would be usually by a certain type of people or in certain situations or certain. You could go for this level now, but there's always going to be a reason for that. But certain situations may be triggered worse if that may trigger it worse. So is it the world? Are they feeling safe in the world? Are they feeling safe in themselves, in their body, with other people? Yeah, good one. Anything else?
Going on dates.
Yeah.
Like just going out into the world, London.
Yeah. So it could be social anxiety there. There could be a feeling of safety around social anxiety. It could be social ideas about love that we'll go on to in a minute.
Would this apply to recoverers, for example, from cancer or from serious illness?
Yeah.
Suddenly not feeling, because I know that I work with students who are very ill, and that is something that they will mention, that their basic feeling of being, you know, I'm young, I can do everything, suddenly that is shattered.
So that could be they're either not feeling safe in the world or they're not feeling safe in their body anymore.
In their bodies anymore, yes. They can't trust themselves.
So that's a big one with health anxiety. So if anyone has ideas about health, it's always they're not feeling safe in their body. Yeah, a really good one. Really good point. Yeah, so just a feeling of safety. Okay. Control. So the negative is I feel stuck, trapped, weak, helpless, powerless, nothing I can do, I'm out of control. The positive would be I am strong, powerful, I'm in control of myself, I'm able to adapt to whatever happens. So can anyone think of any symptoms or any issues people might come to you where they're not in control?
Pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
A bad relationship.
Yeah, they're in a bad relationship. They're not able to get out when things happened.
Not being able to get out of a job they don't like.
Yeah.
Maybe financially not feeling sort of independent or free or secure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or reliant on somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Weight loss as well can come here. If anyone's got any compulsive behavior that they're not feeling in control of, or anger.
Addiction, would this be where like maybe alcohol or addiction would come in feeling like there's nothing you can do and you're powerless over it?
Yeah.
Could this be health as well?
Yeah, they're not in control of their body. Yeah. So you'll find that they all overlap, but it's good to know the core issues so you can help clients identify them, and you can identify them as well. Even if they do overlap, they may have different root causes, or they may have the same root cause. Acceptance. I'm not accepted. I feel different, separate. It's very common this to feel separate from others. Unwanted, excluded, judged, alone, detached, disconnected. The positive, I fit in, I belong, I have a place in the world, I am accepted, included, I am wanted, I am connected. Can anyone think of something that would come with acceptance?
Adopted children.
Or just difficult childhood.
And what would the symptom be that they'd come to you with, you say? Do you think what could be?
Symptom.
Anxiety.
Yeah.
They've got anxiety and they can't quite pinpoint it.
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem, yeah.
Maybe culturally in like workplaces or school, if somebody's background or origin or ethnicity is different, they might feel not accepted.
Yeah. Discrimination.
Or disabled or
Yeah. Yeah.
Sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. Sexuality.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel different. Yeah. Okay. Love is pain. This is a big one. So the example Hattie said about going on dates, so that could be social anxiety, fear, or it could be the fact that love is pain, love hurts, relationships are difficult or unsafe. I can't trust men, women, or no, I can't trust, or men, women are something negative. I'll never be with someone. I have to sacrifice who I am. Where the positive would be love equals happiness, joy, satisfaction, relationships are good, I can feel safe, I can trust the right person, I can be myself, I can feel equal, and I can feel loved. So that's quite a big one. And when you identify that clients have, if they may have that belief that love is pain, that can be quite a big one for them. So, someone would come to you, that's quite obvious. They're going through breakup, or like Hattie said, going on dates.
What about relationship with mother, father?
Yeah. Well, that usually can stem from that. That's where they get it from.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean they're having a difficult relationship with their mother? Yeah. Now, yeah. Okay. So to help, that's them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you help people with these core beliefs and you help them transform at that deep level, then that's going to influence how they think, feel, and behave with respect to the surface level symptoms. So when you've worked on something like this, and there can be a few different beliefs in each session, it might not be apparent in the first session, it may take a few to uncover them, but clients will usually say they feel lighter and free. and it can affect many different areas of our lives. You know, if we have a core belief about safety, that can influence how we feel in our social circles, in our work, in relationships, in lots of different areas. So if you help someone with their core beliefs at that level, that's going to filter up into lots of areas of their lives. But then maybe a few to work through. It can be like an onion. You don't know. You peel away one and another one may come through, or they may be all interlinked.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrew puts it in escape. So a core belief acronym is enoughness, so feeling good enough, safe, safety, control, acceptance, pleasure, no, love is pleasure, not pain, and then enlightenment. So when we've worked through all these, we get to a place where we just learn to let go, we learn to trust, and we learn to feel at peace, and we learn to feel in control of our behavior and our emotions on a deeper level. Make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when people tell you what they do want, you also have to pay attention to what they don't want, because what they're trying to get away from is that core belief. So somebody tells you what they do want. I just want to be in a healthy, happy relationship. Well, what don't you want? What's being compromised here? And if they're really eager to tell you what they don't want, pay close attention to what they do want, because that's where the resistance is to accepting that belief. So again, like we've done before, just working on that do wants and don't wants and looking for any conflict of interest there. So in the basic do want, don't want exercise, we asked questions around a topic and we came up with positive statements, negative statements, and converted them with positives. Or if we had a positive, we then found the negative. So today we're going to probe with these questions. What's that like? In what way? Those two little questions. What's that like? In what way? To fill in the gaps of what core beliefs here are being triggered as well. And our aim is to find out what people don't want, so we can then find out what they do want. So we're looking for that gap. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give a quick example of if someone came to you, if you can sort of like quickly go through the conversation of how it might look to get to the core belief part?
Let's see if there's so the issue, what we don't want is the issue, and what we don't want is the what we do want is the outcome. So we want what core beliefs we're looking for here. Does that make sense? So yeah, give me an example. What example can you think of? So somebody doesn't want to, I don't want to get embarrassed when I speak out in front of lots of people. When I speak at work, for example. Well, what do you want? And what would that be like? So we just ask them what that would be like in more detail. What do they want? What would that be like in more what's it like in more detail to have that issue? And then we say, well, what do you want? Well, I want to be able to get up at work, and I want to speak easily and freely. And then, sorry, my dog. So we look at what they do want. So what does that person want? So how do they want to feel? I want to be able to get up at work, and I want to feel safe to speak and be myself. So we'll have a look at, there's an issue of safety there. Okay, what would it be like if you could feel, what would that be like if you could feel safe at work? Well, I could just be myself. So that's a do want, I could just be myself.
Okay, so it's sort of unpicking what they come to you with and then putting it into do want, don't want, core belief.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe you can do it like this. So we have one side don't want the issue, and then you've got one side do want. And then maybe list these beliefs, enough, safe, control, accepted, and love. And you can tick which one, or you can make notes against each one if that might help. It's hard to do it without a real example. But we've done the do wants and don't wants and what we're working towards and away from last week. So it's the same as that, but this time we're just listening for the core beliefs. There's a list here of what we in the instructions. So I'm going to put you in threes today so somebody can observe, because I think this can happen when you're doing it yourself. It can all happen quite quickly, and when you're submerged in it, it's hard to just take a step back. So I think observing will help, especially like Hattie, you had questions, watching. I can do an example as well if somebody wants an example. When you are the therapist, ask your client to pick a topic they would like help with. So it's good if we choose, we've said before, choose things that are real to us, because it helps us learn more about ourselves, even when we're questioning. Get them to talk about what they don't want and then what they do want. So once you have a list of the don't wants, you get the client to chat about what they don't want, why they don't want it. What does that feel like? What are they trying to stop or reduce? So let's do that column to the left of don't want. What are we trying to stop and reduce? So for every don't want they're going to come to you with, we're going to list the do wants on the right hand side. Remember we did this the last time? And then ask them to explain and clarify why they want that new thing. What is it they want to get? Start and increase. Does that make sense? And what will it enable them to feel if they were to get that way? Well, I'd feel safe, or I'd feel accepted. Or words that allude to those similar things. So can anyone think of a word that someone might say which could be closely linked to acceptance? Something somebody might say.
Welcomed.
Loved.
Being enough.
Yeah, enough. It's quite linked to enough acceptance. But feeling good enough to achieve things. Acceptance is more in ourselves not feeling good enough. It's our perception of ourselves. Acceptance tends to be the perception of other people. So we're looking for here, is this person, do they have an issue with how they perceive themselves, how other people perceive them, how they perceive the world, or being in control?
So if someone was to say, like, let's say you'd gone through it and you'd said, what would that feel like? And you said, oh, if I had whatever, I'd feel welcomed. Would we then write down, or in our notes put accepted?
Because in what way welcomed?
Okay, so do we then try to get them to get to accepted or safe, or
it'd be hard to you can kind of it would depend on that client, but yes, and they may not even say accepted, but a lot of the time they kind of do.
Okay.
And you can, if their issue is with other people, then that's kind of what they want. You can kind of just guess, if they're not feeling safe around other people, the core belief is I'm not safe around others, which would mean I get rejected.
Okay.
So I am enough relates to the person, how they see themselves. If we go back, good enough, worthy enough. Safety is their safety within the world. So the world as a place. Control. Do I have control? Am I weak? Am I helpless? Acceptance is, am I safe around other people? And this idea, the core belief 5, love is pain, pleasure. So that will most likely be to do with relationships and love, this one. Does that help?
Mhm.
Yes, thank you.
So you're listening. Let people talk and take notes as they're talking. And there's a fine line between letting people talk and, you know, let people talk, but it's filtering out what's not relevant. So we want people to talk so they feel open and they feel like they can talk about that issue, but it's been able to filter out what's relevant and what's not. And it's a bit of takes a bit of time and skill to be able to do that, but it's just listening out for those core beliefs.
When people are just like talking incessantly, is that, you know, just telling you the whole everything, is there a way, because it can just sort of all get a bit out of control, can't it? How do you sort of stop them?
You can kind of just say, so what is it you do want? It can be hard sometimes, and this is why these initial consultations with people depends on how much of a talker people are. Some people like to talk about their issue in a lot, and some people will come and they don't talk about it that much. But it does help with clean questioning to kind of keep people on a trajectory of where you want them to go. And it's looking out for keywords of, oh, that's a funny thing to think. Why would someone think that? And in what way? What does that feel like? And in what way is a really good one, actually. That's one of my favorites. In what way? Because it really just gets people thinking. We're just breaking down the layers, and we're just keeping questioning these layers, just so we can really unpick them. So say, you know, you talk about your do wants and don't wants with Lulu today. You know, you were talking about an issue with money. So you look at that in a bit more detail and get you to talk about that in a little bit more detail of and look at the core beliefs. So if somebody has an issue or fear, something's being threatened in some way. So is it how you see yourself? Is it an idea that you're not in control? How other people see you? How you see the world? And then there's love is pain, but that won't be relevant for some. But it could be. It could, if it's, you know, money, it goes back. It's really hard to tell because every client's different. You can't make assumptions. But usually money is not to do with love is pain, unless it's been used as a tool, got intertwined with love in some way. But you're just being a bit of a detective here and finding out what's going on in a bit of a deeper level. And we're not in this yet today. We're not at this stage going to go why people feel that way or where these issues come from. We're just noting of what core beliefs are feeling underlying to the issue. Our core beliefs influence our thoughts and feelings. Our thoughts and feelings influence our behavior. So we get to the root core of this, then we can make changes to behavior. Does this all make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's another example. So I don't want to fail my driving test. Scared of making a mistake and driving badly. So think about what that feels like. Well, I get nervous and I'm able to concentrate. What's that like? In what way you're not able to concentrate, or what way not being able you get nervous? So how does that person get nervous? And then we ask them what they do want. I want to remember I can do well. I know I can drive, and I want to feel safe with the instructor. So think about what that would be like. Well, I'd stay calm and focused. What would that be like? In what way would you be able to focus? Well, I'd be able to think clearly. Okay, so there's the don't want of unable to concentrate and the do want to think clearly. So what do we need in between? What's the core belief here? If there's a core belief between those two.
Control.
Control.
Yeah. Well, it depends on that person, but
are they enough so that perhaps they're not confident in their ability?
Yeah, so there could be a few different things here, and some of them, maybe a few, maybe all of them. So it would just be listing them.
So because it could also be something like safety. So if we thought it could be enough for safety or control, for example, would you then bring up safety in a way that no? So how would you try and narrow it down to what is going on? I guess just keep asking questions.
Yeah, we don't want the clients to know that we're looking for these core beliefs, because we don't want to project anything onto them.
Mm-hmm.
And
so if you can't get to that thing that you think it is, you just leave it.
And you can guess usually. You get to a point where you've done it a lot, and like I said, they are all linked.
But if you can't get it out of them, and you know what it's linked to, you still just leave it.
Because then when you go into the hypnosis, you have a better understanding, and you'll know where we can go. But it should be usually quite obvious. But yeah, sometimes, and what a client will come to you with and what you end up working on could be very different things. But this questioning is good in hypnosis as well. So it's good to get used to it on a conscious level, because then when you can do it when you're working with clients on an unconscious level. Because we will be speaking to clients when they have their eyes closed and in a relaxed state.
Okay.
So, and every client's different, so there's no one way to do this. But that client will give you everything that you need. It's just about you piecing it together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're just filling out the middle gap, the core beliefs. Okay, right, so I'm going to put you in 2 breakout rooms, and you can have, let's say 10 minutes each, 10 minutes as the questioner, 10 minutes as the therapist, and 10 minutes, no, 10 minutes as a therapist, 10 minutes as a client, and 10 minutes as the observer. Okay. And then we'll reconvene in half an hour. So any questions, I'll be popping in and out of each room. Settle down, please.
For you to feel, I just struggle a little bit.
I feel like if I feel like you would have got to, maybe Kathy, I don't know if she'd have said to you, what does it feel like to not be approved of? What would you have said then?
Yeah, I would have probably said, that makes me feel a bit insecure.
Because I feel like it seems like you're trying to get to acceptance.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you actually get to
I put control and acceptance.
Yeah.
I put
she said control, didn't she? She just didn't get to acceptance.
Fiona, hi. I struggled a little bit with asking these, you know, what's it like, and because I think it's difficult. Sometimes that question doesn't apply, or in what way. I struggled a little bit asking those questions and asking them over and over.
So who are you asking? Kathy?
I was asking Kathy. So basically Kathy, if it's okay
I didn't feel as if that was an irrelevant or an inappropriate thing to ask. It made me think, you know, I thought it was good. It made me think about why.
So you can feel a bit silly because you wouldn't normally say in what way to people in everyday.
I think that's how I felt a bit. Yeah.
Sounded really good.
I thought it was.
Or what's that like, or in what? Saying that over and over again, I just struggled a little bit.
What did you find out?
Well, I found out that one of the first things that Kathy was saying is that, because she was saying that she feels she's worried about what she wants people to think well of her. She's worried about what people think of her, because she's selling some furniture, and people who are coming to look, she doesn't want them to think that she's basically trying to rip them off, or overcharging, or being mean. So I got from her that it makes her feel anxious and nervous, and she's looking for approval, and that she's worried about what they'll think about her, and she wants to be able to feel in control, but because she said that one of the things that she said was that it was like feeling out of control, and she was looking for approval, and she was feeling insecure about what people thought of her. So I think it's acceptance and maybe some control I wrote down. But it was all over in about 5 seconds.
Okay.
So I obviously didn't do enough. Okay.
No, it's good. It's seeing a person, how they see themselves, remember? How they see themselves around other people, how they see the world, just finding out just getting used to listening to how people's reference points of how they're seeing things. And you know, if they're feeling out of control, if there's any behavior that they're feeling out of control of.
I mean, what I should have said, you know, when she was saying about feeling out of control, you know, in what way, what's that like? But I didn't, because I'm so worried about writing down what she's saying, and then I get a bit blank about what to ask.
Don't worry. Well, it will come. It will come with practice, and then you will learn to filter out what's not important and what is, and write down the key points.
Yeah, and literally like writing a novel while she's talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get used to just writing words and key phrases, so then you can use them back to her.
Okay.
And you know, if you write down those things anyway, you can just say C for control or something.
Yeah, and actually, there's the point for. Obviously, I didn't repeat what she was saying. I mean, and obviously that was key, wasn't it, to sort of repeat back. So you know, if you're not feeling in control, how does that make you feel? But I don't think I really did that.
It's okay, Eve, it's fine. It's Kathy.
I sort of know what I didn't do.
I think you did say that a few times, Eve.
Okay. Maybe I did. Okay.
What do you think, Lulu?
Okay.
I think it was good. I think you asked loads of questions.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so who's next?
I can go next. I can do you, Eve?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we
I'll
could carry
go.
on from. We could carry on from today.
Yeah, yeah. To do the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I can do another one.
I don't mind doing the money again.
Okay. Okay.
So how can I help you?
I feel a block around money. I worry all the time about there not being enough money, mainly sort of connected with my children and providing a home for them, but it's a big issue for me.
Okay. And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel anxious, and I can lose sleep over it. I feel worried a lot of the time, and yeah, just generally mainly anxious, I think, is probably a good description.
And in what way, and how does that feel in your body?
It affects my ability to focus. It stops me from sleeping. It makes me feel generally stressed and quite tired.
And how would you want to feel?
I'd like to feel. I'd like to, well, obviously feel less anxious, and just feel relaxed around money, and feel confident that there will always be enough.
And what do you want to get from it? Like, what would having money mean to you?
It would security. That's the thing I think that worries me. It's feeling safe and secure. It would make me feel safe and secure.
Okay. And in what way would you feel safe?
Well, just not having that constant worry on the back of my mind, and constantly thinking where we will live, I suppose, where we will end up is the thing that plays on my mind the most. So yeah, just being able to relax and stop overthinking that. Like, I'm not sure I actually just answered your question.
Fine. If you're not overthinking, how do you feel?
Oh well, just relaxed and able to focus and be present, instead of constantly thinking ahead, thinking about the future.
Okay. I don't know what else to ask.
So I don't know if anyone else heard, but the one thing I picked up on, the main thing is the providing a home for your children. Where will I end up? That's the main thing. So what do you think? What core belief did you pick up on, Lulu?
Control and safety, and that's security. Yeah,
safety, I think would be. Because I would have the fear about not providing a home for the kids. Eve, what's that like?
Oh, that's the thing that keeps me awake at night. It's really unpleasant, causes lots of anxiety and stress.
Yeah, in what way?
Lying awake thinking of ways, where can I afford to buy a house, how could I maybe get a mortgage, that sort of stuff. So it's just constant thought of like never ending.
Okay. So Lulu, I would think this is security about either potentially home, security about home.
We actually, earlier when I did it, we got down to you, the worst fear was like being homeless, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or it could be not good enough to be a mother. So there's a few things it could be here. But I think that you're right there though. The fact that, and it's good that you already got there, but it's just keeping digging. The security about home.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I think home is really important to me because it was always not a safe, secure place previously. So now the most important thing for me and the kids is to have a safe, secure home.
Okay, Lily, so you can write that down. So you don't want the to repeat patterns of on the home life, and we do want to provide a safe, steady home.
What I thought was quite good was just in a few questions to get from I worry about money and I can't sleep to actually to saying I'm worried I'm not going to be able to provide a home to my children and look after I think that's quite a big leap. So I thought that was good. In a few minutes.
Well, you had already worked on this today though, haven't you?
Yeah, we sort of covered a little bit of it
yeah,
today.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. We'll work on that for you, Eve.
Okay, thank you.
I so empathise with you, Eve.
Thank you. I know.
I had to look after. Sorry, go on.
No, you carry on.
No, it's not relevant anyway, but I was just going to say I had exactly that. I can just so empathise with you.
It's
all your responsibility.
Yeah. I think I said earlier to Lulu, I said I think if it was just me, then I wouldn't have this
constant worry.
But when you're sort of feeling responsible,
If you guys listened though, there was like a worry on the back of my mind, so that's what I wrote down, because that's a good metaphor you can use. That's something physical that Eve is, tangible, that she has a worry in the back of her mind. So we could always in the hypnoanalysis be like, what is that worry on the back of your mind? So there's something on the back of her mind there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's literally taking what she says, literally everything she says, but taking it literally.
Okay.
It's like clues in the wording.
I definitely feel like I was doing the same as you, Eve, where I was like thinking about what I was going to ask next, more so than listening.
And that's obviously the thing that comes with lots and lots of practice, I assume. But that's me. I'm so busy writing it down that I can't, and thinking about, oh my God, what can I now ask?
All I wrote was providing home for children, relaxed around money, confident there's always enough. Worry on the back of my mind, where will we end up? Relaxed, focused, present, thinking ahead. You don't need to take a lot of notes, and you can kind of get used to writing quickly. When you know what's relevant, you will know what to write down.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm sort of literally writing down every word.
Don't worry. Okay, guys, so you can swap over and another 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it's Kathy and...
Because that's what defines you. Yeah. No, I agree.
How are you getting on?
It was very good. Hattie's a very good therapist.
We just did. I was a therapist and Michelle was the client. So I picked up two beliefs that I would have thought they would be. Should I say them?
Yeah, of course.
And then Mike, you can say what you think, having listened in. Was the main one was enough, that feeling of wanting to be enough and feel enough. And then the second one was control and being able to let go and feel freedom in that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Michelle?
I think that's accurate. I think it's very accurate. Yeah.
What was the issue?
Not wanting to work as hard as I do. But wanting more time, wanting to be able to let go of the work, to move away from it.
Okay. And did you find a conflict there, Hattie, of why Michelle's not able to do that?
Did I find a conflict of why she's not able to do that?
Well, yeah, you just told me.
Sorry. Yes, yes. The core beliefs, yes, is the not feeling enough and not wanting to be in control.
So that's the conflict. It's something she wants and something she doesn't want.
Yeah. Okay.
And what is the conflict between those two of why Michelle's not able to get there? So there's a conflict going on.
Is linking them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Got it, I think.
Yeah, good. Everyone's doing really well. So who's left to do? There should be one more.
We did a bit of chatting.
Okay, is there two more?
Yeah, so we can do them quickly.
Okay, no, that's okay.
Mike, do you want to be therapist or do you want to be a patient? Client.
I don't mind being the client.
Okay, so well then, you've been therapist, so I will be therapist. And Mike, what is it you don't want? Or possibly what is it you do want? And we will work with that.
Okay, I want to ditch my kind of bad habits that don't serve me anymore.
Which bad habits are those?
Tea, caffeine drinking, too much sugar, procrastination, all kind of things we kind of all do to an extent. No, we shouldn't do them. No, it doesn't serve us, but we still do it. I want to just stop.
How do you think you would feel if you did ditch those bad habits?
Calmer, more relaxed, more rejuvenated, healthier, more energy, vibrant, that kind of thing. And similar to you, Michelle, earlier, freeing up my time, because a lot of my time is taken up with work. I want to be like on holiday, playing golf and doing stuff I want to do. That's, at the moment in my priority, that's the kind of last thing that's happening.
And what does it feel like with your bad habits? The sugar, the caffeine, procrastination. And do you consider your work as too much work as one of your bad habits?
It's probably the root cause, because I was thinking earlier, why do I drink so much tea, coffee, and literally do like an hour's work and then have tea or coffee? And you think, well, take work away. If I was retired tomorrow, I wouldn't be guzzling tea, coffee, because to me it feels like I need to kind of rev myself up, stimulate myself. It's like a reward for doing a bit of work, and just kind of you're juggling plates, and it just keeps you kind of going.
And what would it feel like, do you think, if you did the work but didn't use the sugar, caffeine?
Well, I'm trying to do that at the moment. It's going to be tough initially. I'm hoping in time I learn that I don't need it and not relying on it.
Do you think, or what would it feel like if you just had less work?
I don't really know, actually. I've been working for so long.
I'm just wondering, do you think that would influence the amount of sugar and caffeine, procrastination, the bad habits that you want to ditch?
Yeah, definitely. Because I know when I go on holiday somewhere hot for a couple of weeks, there's no urge to drink tea or coffee. It might be because it's hot there, but I haven't got this kind of constant need to keep revving myself up to keep awake and alert and concentrate as such.
And how does that feel, not having to use the caffeine, the sugar?
My normal is highly stimulated, but I realize that's kind of true normal, if that makes sense. I'd rather be on holiday in a chilled out environment where I don't have to keep stimulating myself to do work and keep all the plates spinning and meet deadlines and feel I need to do a good job and keep my employers happy all the time.
What does it mean for you to be, quote unquote, stimulated? You've mentioned that twice, keep stimulating yourself. In what way?
I just think that the tea, coffee kind of just like revs me up and keeps me alert and on my toes, and I can kind of power through the work. I've been doing it for so long now that stepping away from it feels like I'm going to not concentrate as well, be slower doing my work, struggle. So it's like a vicious circle where you just like constantly doing it to keep alert and keep work. It's weird. Yeah.
And how would it feel for you, in respect to your work, if you were not stimulated, if you were not alert? I mean, you're going through that now. How does that feel like now?
It doesn't feel great. It feels like alien. My kind of head feels a bit kind of fuzzy and a bit empty. And I have noticed, like, going around my apartment, sometimes I'm like kind of shuffling around. I mean, it's only been a couple of days, but sometimes I'm like shuffling around, like, what was I going to do? And then it comes to you, and then you're like, oh. So you're not, at the moment, I don't feel quite with it.
What does that? Yeah, what does that mean? Not quite with it.
Just a bit vacant. I mean, I was drinking 10, 12 cups of tea a day. I mean, that's a lot. You suddenly just go bang and take it away. I think anyone would kind of feel a bit not with it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm picking up on a control issue as a basic core belief here, the control of, but I feel that there's something else, Fiona, and I don't know what it is. What am I missing here?
So I don't know if you heard Mike say, it feels like I need to do a good job. I need to keep people happy.
No, I didn't pick up on that.
It's okay. It can be hard when you're writing things down. It feels like I need to keep revving myself up because I need to do a good job. I need to keep everyone happy.
Yeah. I mean, similar to you, Michelle, the flip side is when you actually think about it, for me anyway, there hasn't been many occasions where my employer hasn't been happy with my work. So you think, well, why am I stressing myself out all the time, thinking, oh, they're judging me all the time, when ultimately they're not. You don't generally lose your job. Obviously, I'm a contractor, slightly different to permanent work. But I think it's like more, some of the contracts I've had have been short notice, where, I mean, one at Barclays was 0-day notice. If you're not performing, you're kind of out the door the next day, which...
Mike, in what way judging me all the time? See what I'm doing here? Just, picking up on that. Everyone's judging me all the time. But that's quite, not a normal thing, but it's quite a highlighting thing to say. It's like everyone's judging me all the time. In what way?
For me, it's more of a life of contractor. Contractors are paid more, and they're perceived to kind of churn out the work and do things that other people are permanent. They haven't got that skill set internally. So there's a money element to it, a performance element to it, and with that, you feel you get kind of judged, and if you're not performing, you're a kind of cowboy contractor and just trying to earn the money and pull the wool over their eyes, if that makes sense.
Okay. So what's that like when you're judged if you're not performing?
obviously, if you're being judged, you're not performing. It's not going to be pleasant. I'm struggling to think of an example, to be honest, but it probably goes back to my first 2 years in London when I was permanent. I had to do permanent work for a bit to get on my CV to go contracting. Those 2 years, you get yearly appraisals and obviously bonus associated performance. I soon realised that it just depends on your manager and the team you're in. If you imagine a manager's had his team together for 5-10 years, and each of those people had a certain grade year on year, they can't give everyone A's, they can't give everyone kind of E grades. There's like a bell-shaped curve, there's like a quota, so they've got to spread it around. I just learned that if you're the newcomer to that kind of existing team, you could deliver the world perfectly, but because you're the new guy and he's got to kind of choose who gets A grades and who gets E grades, sometimes you get marked down because you're like the easy kind of target. So that's one of the reasons why I'm contracting. But yeah, you just as a contract, just feel like, I feel like I'm getting reviewed all the time.
So Michelle, I think you were right in the fact that control, but what do you think Mike's trying to control? Sorry to talk about you in this way, Mike, but what do you think Mike is trying to control?
Well, it also sounds to me like that isn't enough. He's trying to prove he has to constantly prove himself with respect to his job. And there's a safety issue in terms of the way that he's perceiving what his work environment and how he could just be pushed aside. So he's constantly having to prove himself, which, so I don't see, pleasure, pain, no. So I would have thought we were dealing with feelings of being good enough for the job, or feeling safe within that environment because one is doing the job and one is doing it well, and controlling, an issue of control here in terms of not only work but also of his own use of caffeine.
Maybe other people's opinions. What did you pick up on, Hattie?
I thought safety as well, based on the contracting, and you've got 0 days notice. Like, that's quite an unsettling, unsafe way to be.
Yeah. I think the ultimate fear is just being ushered out the door.
Sure.
Yeah, which is probably quite a real fear if you've got 0 day contract. That's crazy.
Yeah. Not the norm, that's one of them. I wouldn't say it's feeling judged and picking up people's words. That doesn't affect me. It's just the thing where, like, now I've got a mortgage, I need to keep earning. You don't want to be ushered out the door because then suddenly you're out of work and you don't know when you're going to be in work again, and you know when money's coming in again. So, but I know previously words have had an effect on me. I mean, when we've gone through like the shyness before, that was always because when I was younger, I was told all the time by my parents that I'm shy. You're so shy. Just interested in me.
Okay, so there's a few different things going on there, which you'd have to not attack, but you go through either individually or you may do it all in one session. But there's just there may be a few elements to that. We've got the safety and security around money and or job security. The idea of being enough and doing a good job, and potentially keeping other people happy and other people's acceptance there. It's covering all three. Okay. Well, I'll just check the other room, but we have one more to do. Maybe we can do that as a group or in a group, because there's one more left. Who would that be? The therapist? Oh, Hattie.
Oh, no, not me. No, sorry, it's Mike.
So, would you be happy to do that in a group? No. Okay. Well, are you happy to we leave it for Thursday?
What's that? For me to be the therapist on Thursday?
Yeah. And we've just run out of time. Well, let me see if unless you want to
It's fine. I mean, I've picked up the basics from what you guys. Yeah. Not as confident as you as well.
Okay. Well, we'll work on that, Mike.
Or Mike, we could do a quick fire, and I could be a client that has all the answers ready for you.
Yeah, okay, let's do a quick fire in 2 minutes. Go, Mike.
So, what were the issues you'd like to have help with today?
So, I would like to change my narrative around and sorry that this is on you, Mike, but about men being like bad.
Right, okay. And why do you think men are bad?
Gosh, a whole list of reasons, but probably lack of being shown like trust, maybe, or lack of being shown otherwise.
Right, okay. And how does that make you feel?
Not great, not very hopeful.
Right, okay. So in terms of what you I'm lost though. So what do you
You're doing really well.
Not lost, keep going.
What don't you want? But it's not that, is it?
What's the other? What would be the opposite of what don't you want?
What you do want. So how do you want to feel in terms of?
I'd like to feel. I'm going to say hopeful. I'd like to feel more hopeful when I think about like relationships in general.
And how will that make you feel?
Probably more positive, less guarded or less jaded, maybe. How would it make me feel? Yeah, I think probably positive would be how I would describe it.
Right, okay. So going back to those don't wants, what would be the kind of total opposite of that, do you think?
So if I don't want to think men are bad, I guess the opposite would be to think that men can be good.
Right, okay. I'm totally lost. Sorry.
You're not lost. You've done what I
You're
don't
doing
want.
well. You're doing well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stuck. I'm sorry.
What would you ask, Michelle? If you could give him help.
Well, I was just wondering, in what way are men bad?
Good question.
It was an interesting term that you used.
It was, yeah. I didn't expect that to come out. In what way are they bad? I think when I say men, I'm talking about sort of men of my age in like a dating relationship sense, not all men ever. I think they're bad and they're sort of like badly behaved or irresponsible or like selfish or not considerate.
And how does that make you feel?
Like just hopeless.
And in what way do you feel hopeless? That's a very strong term.
Hopeless because I know that I can't control it and I feel like there's nothing really I can do about it, and so then I just think, oh God, why bother? And that's that sort of hopelessness thing.
And if you could have what you do want, what would it be that you do want?
Prince Charming.
And in what way, Prince Charming?
Good, Michelle.
Kind and honest and like emotionally aware or emotionally intelligent, not selfish. Yeah, that would do as a starting place.
And how would that make you feel?
Joyful and hopeful.
So guys, what do you think the beliefs were there?
Love, pain and pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite obvious, that one.
Yeah.
Lots of hopeless and hopeful. Hattie, hopefully we can work on that for you.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. If my husband had a brother, I would introduce you. I would.
Let me
thanks, Michelle.
Sorry,
just make sure the other
that's all right.
1st of December, so I think I'm not going to be able to make a few of the lessons.
Back to the UK. Okay, we're finished.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry, guys. The other guys it went over a little bit. Have you managed to fill the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll close them all now.
Okay.
Hello, Kathy.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Right. Are we all back? So how did you all find that?
Hard.
Yeah,
tough.
We all found it hard, I think.
Yeah, but you all did really well from what I saw. You were all managing to pick up those key points and key terms, and it's just keeping probing.
Because we're not used to it. It just feels odd.
It's alien,
like you're
isn't it? Asking those,
Yes,
and asking the same question over and over. I really struggled with.
Well, you don't really need to ask the same question over and over. You can, it's just getting through to the layers, but the client won't notice when you say something like, okay, so I just feel like I'm being judged all the time. In what way judged all the time? So a client won't notice as much as you do.
Okay.
And you can ask, okay, well, how would that feel? What would that be like? So it's just getting used to it. It's not a conversation, remember. And remember to keep nodding, not nodding, but agreeing with what people are saying, encouraging, and repeating back what they're saying, concentrating on it, listening. Every word they're giving you is clues. Mike came up with a good analogy. He said he was juggling lots of plates. So if you were then, you use that term, juggling lots of plates, you could use that as a metaphor later on in the work you were doing with him. Eve said, I just got a worry always on the back of my mind. That's a good visualization or something you can use when you're doing the work later on. So that worry on the back of your mind, I wonder if that's changed anyway. Or those plates, I wonder if we could just calm them all down or stop them all spinning. So it's just using the words. They're giving you clues all the time, and it's just listening to what they're telling you as if you're a detective. Any questions?
Okay. Oh, go on, sorry. Go on. No, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. Honestly, it's fine.
Thursday we will look at this a little bit more. We will look at handcrafting, some suggestions. We kind of did that in the last practice session, but this time we're going to work on the deeper beliefs of handcrafting those suggestions for the core beliefs.
Okay, so my question was, is it possible to have videos of the breakout rooms? Can we see? Because I can't make Thursday, but I'd like to be able to just get an idea of what people have done. Is that possible? I think.
Yeah, I recorded the breakout rooms today. I know it does tell people. Does it tell you when I come in? This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah.
I did turn it off sometimes because I know that can be a bit interrupting, but I have left it on so you can see. But I will record the breakout rooms on Thursday.
Would
so
you
you're not here
mind,
on
so
Thursday?
I can.
Okay.
I know I've got my son's school ball.
Okay.
I can't get out of.
That's okay.
So
that's okay. At least we know.
I'm sorry. I'm going to Ireland tomorrow. I'm going to try and I'll try and hotspot for my phone, but there's very little signal. There's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing there. So I will try and be there. But if I'm there and I'm in and out, then I'll just leave because I know that's annoying. So I might not be there either.
Okay, that's okay.
Sorry, I definitely won't be there on Thursday. Sorry.
Okay, no, don't worry. It may just be the three of us, which is fine. We can just then do it in the group.
Oh, that would be really useful.
You might be looking forward to that, aren't you?
No more last minute cancellations. Yeah, it's good. Like I said, it's good we work through our own stuff. I worked through so much of my own stuff when I still am, but you know, when I was doing this course, and I came out of it a different person. So it is good to do the deeper work. You learn as well, and then when you go through your own stuff, you then understand other people a bit more and what they're going through, and it helps other people learn.
I'm still happy if anybody wants. So, like today, Lulu came over. I'm in SW6, but if anybody wanted to do like a few of us get together, because I've got an empty house from Friday, if anybody wanted to do that again, because I found that really useful today.
Yeah, Eve, I'm so close to you. We definitely should try.
Okay, well, let's try and get some
down
days.
the road.
And Hattie and Hattie and Mike, you're not far either, are you? But I know you've got work and stuff, so it's just around.
SW6 Victoria.
Fulham.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm close as well.
Mm.
I like that.
And Kathy, when are you coming back to England?
1st of December, and I'm going to be just by Albert Bridge for a few months.
Oh, lovely.
So you'll be here for the practical.
Yes, yeah.
Good timing. Okay. All right. Perfect.
Oh, is the 4th of December not a night out then?
Yes, Eve, it is. We can always go on a night out after. If it's a long day.
I thought it was our Christmas thing.
Oh, well, let's double it up.
Christmas party.
Excuse for a night out.
We're doubling up. Okay. So we'll have our Christmas party and we'll have our teaching.
Do it all at the same time. Okay.
Winter
Why
Wonderland.
not? Log in the teaching hours.
Sorry, that's what I thought we were doing. All right.
No, well, we can. You've just given us all the idea now of our Christmas party.
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, I'll see some of you on Thursday.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.